A new ride service in town, and it claims to be cheaper than a taxi and faster.
Uber might be the most controversial company Silicon Valley ever produced. It all started on a cold night in Paris in 2008. Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp couldn't get a taxi. Frustrated and freezing, the two saw a business opportunity, and Uber was born.
Uber claims it is a seamless, reliable, and affordable way to get around Spokane.
But this isn't your typical tech success story. From the beginning, Uber wasn't just disruptive. It was illegal, aggressive, and often unethical.
Drivers and taxi companies accuse Uber of stealing their business and of operating a service that isn't safe.
Chapter 1. Uber begins. Travis Kalanick was a natural hustler. As a teen, he sold knives door to door. Later, he dropped out of college to start Scour, a peer-to-peer search engine like Napster. It got sued into oblivion for $250 billion. His next project, Red Swoosh, was designed to get revenge by turning former litigants into customers. He sold it for millions, fueling his next big idea. Enter Uber Cab, launched in 2010 in San Francisco. A sleek black car on demand, ordered with a single tap. It was modern, cashless, and classy. Users felt like Bond. Drivers made bank. But it wasn't long before city regulators came knocking. San Francisco's transportation agency told Uber they were violating taxi laws and could face $5,000 fines per ride or jail. Travis's response? "We're not a cab company, we're a tech company." He dropped cab from the name and ignored the warnings. Chapter 2. Break the rules. Win the game. Uber's strategy was blitzkrieg. Grow fast, ignore the law, apologize later. They offered cash bonuses to drivers, gave riders free trips, and scaled quickly in major cities. But when regulators tried to shut them down, Uber used shadow tactics. They created software called Grayball that identified law enforcement officers and showed them a fake app interface. No cars, no service. To authorities, it looked like Uber had stopped operating. In reality, it was business as usual. Uber even hired ex-CIA, NSA, and FBI agents to run surveillance and espionage operations. They weren't just disrupting, they were evading and manipulating the system. Then came UberX, allowing anyone to drive. It cut prices dramatically, sparked outrage in the taxi world, and opened a new legal battlefield. Chapter 3. Uber versus Lyft. When Lyft launched in 2012, it directly threatened Uber's new turf. Kalanick went into war mode. Uber employees crashed Lyft recruiting events, poached drivers with better pay, and used burner phones to flood Lyft with fake ride requests, only to cancel them. They also built secret tracking software called Hell, letting them monitor Lyft drivers' locations. If a driver used both apps, Uber would shower them with bonuses to get them to switch. Uber also outmaneuvered Lyft financially. Travis would call Lyft's potential investors immediately after meetings to steal their attention and their money. Chapter 4. Uber versus the world. Uber then turned its eyes to the global stage, spending billions trying to conquer cities abroad. In China, scammers used thousands of phones to game Uber's promo system, costing the company millions. Apple caught Uber secretly tracking iPhones to fight the fraud, violating App Store rules. Tim Cook threatened to ban the app. Meanwhile, protests erupted. Taxi cartels in Mexico and India attacked Uber drivers. In some cities, drivers were killed. Cities passed bans. Others imposed massive fines. Then came the safety scandals.
There was a rape, an alleged rape, that occurred in Delhi involving a 25-year-old woman who was taking an Uber ride home.
In India, a woman was raped by her Uber driver, sparking global outrage. Uber refused to raise entry requirements for drivers. Critics said it prioritized growth over safety. Internally, the company was unraveling. A toxic culture thrived. There were parties with prepaid credit cards and celebrity performances. One executive called the app Boober for how it helped him meet women. Susan Fowler, a former engineer, exposed systemic sexual harassment.
And then you find out later that, in fact, it was not his first offense. You start talking to other female colleagues and you realize this guy has been doing this before.
HR had ignored her complaints. Many others came forward. Uber's culture of abuse was no longer a secret. Chapter 5. The fall of Travis Kalanick. By 2017, Uber had become synonymous with controversy. Travis took a leave of absence to work on himself, but within weeks, he was forced to resign. It was the ultimate betrayal. The board and investors believed Uber had to clean up its image. Travis, the man who built Uber from scratch, was gone. The company pivoted. A new CEO focused on stability, compliance, and reputation, but the IPO in 2019 fell flat. Investors were nervous. Uber was still burning billions. Today, Uber is safer, slower, and more corporate, but it lacks the raw energy and relentless ambition Travis brought. Love or hate him, Travis Kalanick shaped Uber into a global force through sheer force of will and a willingness to break every rule in the book. Was it brilliance or recklessness? That's up to you to decide. Want more stories like this? Subscribe and watch our next expose on how TikTok took over the world and how WhatsApp makes money.